Hello, all my good friends out there in TV land. This is Senior Issues, etc. And I'm your host, Vita Verdon. And thank you for being so faithful in watching the show today. You know, I always have you in mind. You've been with me for over the last 16 years. And so I like to bring you always the latest news, the latest hot stuff that's going on. And we have it for you today. So hurry up and get your coffee. Come on, sit down. This one's for you. It's our honor to have on our show today. He's been on here several times. And he's got some news to give to you today that I'm sure you have not heard before, and it's His Honorable, our State Representative, Ed Sullivan. So good to have you back
Great
today.
To be back. Enjoy
it's
it.
good we can get this together. First of all, I've gotten to know the audience out there, and we've become very good friends, and I know what they want, and they like to get a little up close and personal, and we've got so many new affiliates since the last time that you've been on the show. So if you look right into that camera and give them a lowdown on yourself, that's what they want to hear.
Okay. Well, I'm Ed Sullivan, State Representative. I live in Mundelein. I've represented the 51st District for roughly, I'm in my 14th year. I am not running for re-election again, so this hopefully won't be my last program, but it might be my last program as a state representative, as my term will end early January. But as I said, I've lived in Mundelein. I have a wife, 2 young kids.
Well, what's your wife's name?
Patricia, Trish.
How about giving Trish a kiss right there?
Hello,
and
honey.
One for every child you have.
All right, and to Kaylee, 8, and Finn,
And
7.
this is for the whole family.
Great.
Okay. Now, I know that what our friends out there would like to know is exactly what is the function of a state representative. We know that you go back and forth to Springfield,
Right.
but what for?
Well, I have an office in Springfield and an office in my district. Now, my office is in Mundelein at the corner of 176 and 45.
And Mundelein is about, because we have a wide affiliate.
Sure,
it goes
center of
all the
Lake
way-
County.
It's the center of Lake County, and it's about 35 miles northwest of the Chicago area.
Yes, it
Because
is.
our show goes to almost into Cook County
Oh,
now.
wonderful. So the state representative, there's 118 legislators in the
Okay.
House of Representatives. I'm one of them. We break up our districts geographically, but it should encompass about 108,000 people, voters.
So you have like a Senate, you have a portion
Yes.
of the legislative body.
Yes.
I want
so
them to be
I'm
clear.
one of 118 legislators in the House.
Okay.
And our job is to represent those people that elected us to go to Springfield. I'm a Republican. I would consider myself more of a common sense, middle of the road Republican as opposed to your far right Republicans.
Okay.
And so.
So would that be called a moderate?
Yeah, I'm more on the moderate side.
Okay.
Fiscally conservative, socially middle right, I guess is the best way to sometimes I explain to people I'm probably more libertarian than most people.
Okay.
Keep government out of our lives type
right.
of deal. And so we work on a lot of different issues. Right now, the main issues are working on a budget. We haven't had a budget in 10 months. And so that is causing a lot of problems. Schools did receive money, so they're functioning, but not functioning very well. We have different programs that affect seniors that are not functioning because we're running out of money to help pay for those. And so all the social service nets that you see that rely on state services, state funding, are not being funded. A lot of services are still being provided, but they're on IOUs. And so hopefully we can get a budget together to pay off those IOUs.
I want to tell you a little story that I get a lot of calls from seniors. They think that we are a community service show.
Sure.
So I accept a lot of these calls, and if I don't have the answer, I try to direct them.
Sure.
So the latest call bundle that I've been getting is, Circuit Breaker, which was a service for seniors,
Right.
has kind of disbanded, except for the discount on the car.
There's discounts on the cars, certainly.
So now one of the things that's happened within the last year is that when their name comes up, it always doesn't come up that they have circuit breaker.
Right.
So in the past, what's happened, like I think like if a car, let's say, is $103, and in circuit breaker you can get it for $24.
Sure.
That's about more than a $75 discount. Okay. Now this year, in the past, what you could do is if you didn't get the refund, you could go down, send it to Jesse White, and they would refund you the money.
Right.
But what's happened within this last year is if you don't get the discount and you're charged $103, you don't get a refund because the state has no money.
So because we don't have a state budget,
Right.
there is no appropriation. And so the key to anything we talk about with any program that the state funds is, do we have an appropriation to allow the state to fund that program?
Right.
Because we don't have an appropriation, we cannot fund the program.
Right.
Meaning that there's no money to refund to folks. Let's say they go in there and they can get it right off the top, but if they want to send it in, there's no money to give you back. And so until we get that, I would certainly hold on to your receipts, and then once we have an appropriation, then go to the state, and hopefully we will treat the seniors the same way we would a vendor that has provided services.
I see.
And so I would recommend people to hang on to their
Hang
receipts.
on to the.
And then go in
That's
after
really
the fact.
good thinking. Do you hear that, everyone that has done this? Hold on to your receipt, and at some time, the money may come back, hopefully.
The money will come back. It's just we want to make sure that we're funding it, and then
Yes.
if you have people that are having a hard time, have them call my office or call your state representative's office, and they can advocate for you to make sure you receive that refund.
Now, getting back, because since this is a voting year and there's so much on television, about the representatives and the legislators and what's going on.
Right.
Now, when you vote, does it line up with all the other legislators, your vote? How does your vote count? I think that our audience would be interested in hearing a little bit more about that, since it's so much in the news now.
Well, I mean, this year it's going to be kind of a trying time. When you look at the primaries that are going through, you see a lot of high vote totals coming out right now. There's a lot of interest because President Obama is no longer going to be on the ballot, and so you have an open presidential election. That's going to draw a lot of interest to see who is going to be the next president. Right now, we're trying to figure out presidential nominee for Republican and Democrat, and then Libertarian Party will put up a candidate as well. And so every vote really does count. Illinois, for the first time in many years, mattered on what happened in the presidential race, and so far, we're looking at presidential race, but remember, we're going to have down ballot races, and so my recommendation to everybody is the farther down ballot you get, one vote truly can make a difference. And so from a judge...
Would you explain that a little bit more?
Well,
what you would say the farther down on the ballot?
Farther down on the ballot, what happens is people want to vote for the presidential race,
and
sometimes they start skipping other races.
Oh, so they just vote to
They vote a couple things that they know.
But it's important to vote the whole ballot.
It's important to vote the whole ballot because, and then so as fewer votes there are at the down ballot, one vote really becomes
is important.
an important vote.
Do you hear that? That is such a good tip. I want you to pay attention to this. He's saying, just don't skim and take off the top and just let the bottom go like in a random thing. Your vote does count, and that's what we've been stressing on the show. True. I have never impressed any person in the audience how they should vote. What I have impressed is that you should vote. And the thing that I'm the most proud of as a senior is we are one of the highest bodies of voting public that comes out the most. Seniors do vote.
The highest vote block is seniors. And if you really wanted to get together and change election outcomes, you could get together and say, hey, we're going to make sure we're going to vote for everybody. We want this judge in, we don't want this judge in, because those are usually the last ones you vote for. Or referendums. I mean, there's going to be referendums on property taxes, on lots of different things that you really should pay attention to and make sure you vote, for or against, depending on what you believe is the right outcome.
Well, one of the questions that I had emailed to me to ask you is, exactly, could you go through the process? How do you determine your vote? Is it your opinion, or do you take a consensus? This is what somebody.
My vote at the General Assembly when
Yes.
I'm down in Springfield. Okay, so when I run, I'm going to say, here's my general philosophy on how life should run, or government should run, or
when you
my
first start
opinions
running,
on
you
things.
give out
And so
how what your philosophy is.
exactly,
Okay.
and so we have a representative form of government. So
Okay.
I say this is what I believe in, people vote for me, and then I represent them in Springfield. Now, beyond that, people do contact my office through email, through phone calls, and we have a system where we log them.
Okay.
And if I see some big votes coming up, I will call staff and say, hey, what's the general feeling in the district? How many people have called on this issue? And then I get sent emailed a report, instantaneously on what is going on. Generally, I say that legislators kind of know a little bit about everything, and we've maybe focused on a few things, but there might be some things I don't know real, a ton of information about. I try to, become involved and see what it is. But the more people that contact me, and especially those that have expertise in different matters, if they come and talk to me or they write me a letter, we get more information for me to make a better informed choice on how to vote and how to best represent my district. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do.
So then the advice I can give to our friends out there is, if they hear the issues, what issues are being voted on, if they call their state representative
Absolutely.
and register their vote, that will give an influence when the vote is taken down in Springfield. That's something really interesting to know. So as a body of seniors, it's our job to be a role model for the next generation, and we should be aware of what's going on, and we should vote our philosophy and let our representative know.
Yep.
Now, you know what? I'm going to get down to what you're going to do this year, but now we're coming to Vita's Pearls of Wisdom. Okay, listen, you guys out there, there's a couple things I want to talk to you about. First of all, I thank you for all your emails, and I answer every single email that I get, and I answer every call that I get. And if I don't have it, you know that I will find out where we can give it. And our goal is, this is our motto, we can live forever. And so what we have to do is put our stamp and be strong in what we count for. Okay, go to the website, and you can find out from the old shows, and you can find information how to contact me. And it's seniorissuesetcetera.org. Etc. is etc.org. So you'll come onto the homepage, and it will show all the areas that the show is seen, and we're in 100 and some of affiliates. And then if you scroll down, I have a link there's about 45 shows online, and it's listed in a chronological order, and each show will tell the subject matter of what the show is. Now, if you have show ideas, you feel like you want to have something because our mission statement is we give a voice to the voiceless, contact me, and we'll see that your view is aired in some way. Now, there's a couple things that are important that I'd like to talk to you about. I'm always talking to you about this for your health. One of the things is for your health that when you're taking vitamins, be sure you take vitamins with food, or else the only thing that is getting the benefit of the vitamin is your toilet, because it's going to pass right on through you. The next thing is, when you go to your doctor, you have a list of all your medication, but that's not the full story. What you must take to your doctor on your doctor's visit is you must take all your supplements, because over-the-counter supplements, they could be, nothing wrong with them, but they could have some kind of contrast to the medication that you're taking that is not a healthy thing. So you do not have the wherewithal how to figure that out. That's why you bring them to your doctor, and your doctor can check out all the supplements you're taking, and if that is compatible with your medication. That is an important feature. Now, there's another thing that's an important feature, and it is the highest injury with seniors is they fall. So what we have to work on is preventative falls. At night, if you're getting out of bed, sit on the side of your bed that you're not dizzy, and sometimes from medication. And if you do not have a nightlight, if you can't sleep with a nightlight, keep a flashlight next to your bed and be sure that you have a lighted path to get to the washroom. Just don't let it be happen chance, because that's where a lot of falls happen. And another thing is this. If you have a walker in your house, keep your walker next to your bed, that at night when you get up, that you have some sort of stability that you can hold on to, and that'll prevent a fall. There's another thing. You have to proof your house. By proofing your house, this is what I mean. In the bathroom, if you have just a little rug on the floor and it doesn't have that nod slid part of it, you can slip. So many happen over that. And any building that you're in will allow those bars to be had. And you could have bars put on in your bathroom, over your tub, or anywhere around your sink. And insist that you have those. Don't be vain about it, because what we have to do is, since we're the first generation that is living this long, we have to learn and pass this advice on to each other, how to not only live smart, but live safe. And to prevent fires, don't accumulate, don't be a hoarder, all those stacks of newspapers. Be sure that your house is clear, all these rugs are taken away, and that you have a clear path. And listen, if you haven't worn any kind of clothing in the last year, give it away. And you know, all those things around your house that the kids love, they don't have to wait till you die. Why don't you start slimming yourself down? You will feel more lightweight. You don't need all that stuff, and give it to them, because the most important thing is to keep your family intact and keep them loving. Don't be a crabby old person. Be a role model and be an optimistic. And it isn't your age that gets you. Our flesh can deteriorate, but our spirit could remain strong. So what we have to be is optimistic, older, mature folks for the next generation, and they'll be proud of us. You know what? You can pioneer anything. We have pioneered this show. We started this is the end of our 16th year. And, you know, I'm 84. I have a cameraman, 92, and it is our graphics guy, Art Kick. It's his birthday today. It's his 89th birthday. God bless him on his birthday. And we just, and Gloria, who's the producer, she's going to be 86 years old, you know, and we're happy we can do this. So follow your dream. Get your tough off of that sofa. Get that tush going and go and volunteer somewhere and give those words of wisdom out to the next generation. It'll make you a better person, and you could hook on to the phrase, I can live forever too. And we're getting back to our honorable state representative, and he's going to give us the news that what's he going to do now. Now, how come you're too young you're not retiring?
Well, no, I'm 47, a young 47. No, it's, you know, I've been, one day I woke up and I looked up and I have been in government half my life.
Okay.
I started off working for Congressman Phil Crane from the area up here,
right,
and then went into some local government, and then 14 years at the state. So, you know, it's time for me to go do something else. I have young kids, 7 and 8 years old, so spend a little bit more time with them. And so I'm going to finish my term out. The next juncture in life is going to be some consulting in government and in local affairs.
You're still going to come on the show, right?
I absolutely will come on the show.
Right.
I hope I'll be invited back.
Oh, you certainly will be.
There's some property tax issues that I'll be working on, helping people with property tax assessments and reducing property taxation for folks. And so those are the general areas that I think I'll be hopefully be working into. You know, I obviously, you know, have many years ahead of me. I mean, if everyone here is in their mid to upper 80s working on shows, I can probably work for a little bit longer too. Take inspiration.
Absolutely. I know what you have been doing every year, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about it, is you have been giving a senior fair.
Yes.
you know, and I've gone this last time. I was in the nursing home, but Gloria and Art did go, but we attend
Sure.
every year, and it's been very beneficial. I've gotten so many
Absolutely.
guests off of your show, you know, those that have
Absolutely.
been there.
So I put on a senior fair at the Libertyville Sports Complex every year, late summer, early fall. I'm not 100% sure that we have it scheduled as of yet, but we'll have this one last show, one last fair, where what we do is it's a free fair. We will send out mailers to district residents. We'll send out emails, put it in the newspaper so people know when it is. I'll let you know ahead of time, so if you have a show beforehand, you can announce when it'll be. And we will bring in roughly 100 vendors that will have different services that they offer. Some of it is governmental services, so obviously free services. Walgreens comes in and does a flu shot clinic.
Right.
There's different types of programs.
I know I've gotten
hearing,
cancer.
ear cancer.
And Alzheimer's. I've gotten an array of people from your show. Really good. I've gotten really good shows out of that.
I think, we generally get about 500 to 600 people that come through the fair. There's some refreshments that are available, if you're hungry and want to wander about. But we'll give you lots of information to make choices in life on what affects you. And I can't tell you what affects you, but if you have an issue with hearing, if you need to potentially go to assisted care facility, these are types of things that are going on. Then there's programs to keep seniors active. I mean, and so there's the range from very active seniors to seniors that might be having troubles in life.
I know that both you and I come out, we're both Adeline Giacara's babies. She had her
Yes.
hand on the two of us. And I
Yes.
tell you, I think of her often. I'm so grateful to her. I had never met her, and I was just doing some volunteer work at the senior center, and I got a call one day and said, the senator would like to talk to you. I said, oh, you must be making a mistake. And she said, no, it's no mistake. And she gets on the phone and she says, listen, kid, I want to talk to you. She says, you're doing more than taking people to gambling casinos. So she says, I want to help you any way I can,
Sure.
And what she was the people person.
Absolutely.
And thank God she saw something in both you and me,
Sure.
which was in her. She was a people person.
She was great. It was, I was fortunate enough to serve with her for a number of years before she left the General Assembly and obviously subsequently passed on. But no, she was wonderful. She was very opinionated. She told you whether you're doing something wrong or right. But if you did something right, she let you know that as well.
Yes.
And so it was nice to have her as a kind of a guiding light down there in the legislature, and it was nice. We need more people like her in the General Assembly.
But, she had her hand on the two of us because she saw something in us that wasn't even really developed that much
Sure.
in us,
Sure.
and she helped to bring it out. So that's a good thing to have in mind. One of the things I'd like to talk to you about is I ask every person that I interview is, where does your passion lie? What have you gotten out of your time in Springfield and being the state representative? How do you feel that that has helped to develop you as a person?
There's multiple facets of what we do. Some of it's political, some of it is legislative, and community service, constituent service. Well, actually both. What gives me the most reward is what we do back home in Mundelein for the district. When people come into my office and say, well, I need help with this agency, or I'm having trouble getting my driver's license, or my card for whatever agency, where my staff and I can go in and get through the problems and the red tape of government is probably the most fulfilling thing that we do. It's nice to pass legislation. It's nice to win elections. And it's nice to do things like that.
But you actually feel
where I
the
can
fulfillment.
help people, you feel better about what you're doing. And so that's really the best thing. And the advice that I give to incoming legislators is focus on home. If you focus on home, you're going to feel better about what you're doing. You're going to accomplish something. And quite frankly, that also helps what you're doing on the other end, getting reelected, and helps you downstate. But it's much more fulfilling to go back home, to walk into do events like this, doing a taping show and helping people that might watch your program.
Yes.
Doing the senior fair. I've done children's fairs. We do recycling events, things that help our community, because ultimately, if you stepped up to run for election, you've done it for one reason, and that's to help your district, help the people that you would serve. And so focus on back home, and that's what we've tried to do. And when I hire people, like you've been dealing with Sharon in my office, she's an expert on that. I mean,
Yes.
she knows aging, she knows Medicaid, she knows a lot of the different programs, and so I brought her in specifically for
And
that
they have
expertise.
been a help to us personally, and we have recommended this. So we have experienced that.
Sure.
So then you're actually not retiring, you're transcending from one line of work, and we'll see the next thing that you're going to step into. What do you like to do most of all?
What do I like from...
That's where your gift lies, what you like to do most of all.
You know, most of all is just dealing with people. From my work perspective, is dealing with people and seeing what their needs are, talking to folks. From a home front standpoint, playing with my kids. We're spending a lot more time with them, and you know, I have my son starting to really develop in baseball, and my daughter really is developing in gymnastics and soccer. And so that and then my wife and I both you know, have started to train for triathlons, and so those are kind of, my life is busy. And
so
going
you're a
from there.
people-oriented person.
I try to be.
Now, one of the things that I could say about you that I know you can't say about yourself, that my staff, the producer Gloria and the graphics man Art has said, they go to the senior fairs all the time, that even, and this is something that Adeline Gita Harris had also, that even with the multitude of people that you meet, that you remember people. You remember people, and that you're approachable.
Sure.
And that is something that I can say that has, through the years, like I have been around people that, okay, you started at this point, but then they've grown beyond, they don't know you anymore.
Sure.
That you have been such an approachable person, and such a helpful person, like you wrote such a nice contribution to our website, a letter to be put up, you know, and that's so, that is such a nice attribute.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's nice to hear. It means I've been doing my job correctly.
Because both Art and Gloria, they came to me in the nursing home. They said, you know what, he remembered us. He knows where we're from. And they were so shocked because of the multitude of people that you see. That's really a compliment to you. You've kept that personal line going to a really strong effect. Well, you know,
thank you.
That we have grown up together, so to speak.
We have. You've been 2 years before I started, and then 14 years later, here we are.
Yeah, here we are, you know, that we've grown up together, and we've like gotten to know each other on a really solid basis.
Absolutely.
And this is not the end of the line. This is the beginning of a new line, and you'll keep in contact with us, and that bringing this to our friends out there, that's how I feel about the audience. I've gotten to know them too, and they'll want to know what your next step is, and they'd be interested in it, because it's real interesting to see the progression of a person and the way that they go. So, you know, I know it's from our audience, which I don't even know how large it is at this date, but I know it's grown beyond my own expectation. And that we feel that we have pioneered this, and that there'll be other people around the country that will network and do the same, because we started with zero and it's coming to this. So you know what it is now? When you out there in TV land come to the end of your rope, you tie a knot and hang on. You know why? Because the best is yet to come, and what we want you all to do this week is catch the spirit. God bless you. We love you. Okay, you're out. Great.